Hey everyone, thank you for joining and welcome to Let's Zwift. Today is stage 14 of the Chasing Yellow series and we are riding Climber's Gambit. On the right you will see the profile of the key climb Epic KOM reverse. Let's get into right before race time here. I'm hoping that I can come out of the gates and have a nice little pace here. You can see though, kick's pretty steep out of the beginning. You can see a couple people in orange watts there on the right. I kick it up in 400 watts and there's going to be this little downhill section that comes. Some big time competitors are in this race today. We just noticed Botwell there. I believe Martin Collins is in this race as well. Lund's going to be a key competitor as well on the key climb at the end of the day. Just going through here, settling in, pace is nice, and we're going to fast forward. As we go into this first 0.6 kilometer marker, there's this little climb kicker at the front here. And as we see, there's a guy just going off the front with the big attack on this little 3-4% section. Just going to sit in, not too concerned as it's so early on in the race, 27K to go. I do up it to about 400 watts here. I have a key teammate here, Francesco, on the front, and he's just kind of doing a nice job keeping a steady pace. He's going to play a pretty big role later on in the match here. We can see another key competitor, Greno, there. He's riding strong right now. He's somebody I'm going to kind of try to mark myself against. As we're going through today's race, if you have any questions you want to ask, just feel free to leave a comment down in the section below and I'll answer what was going on in my mind during certain key race points. Picking back up here at 5.1 km, and we're coming in the first key climb of the day. You can see just right off the bat, this 4% section, you see some numbers up in the 5-6 watts per kilogram, and immediately it just goes up to 7 watts per kilogram. Barry's up there at 6. White is up there. Pods is up there. He made some big attacks today. Kicking on to 7%, and everybody's going to go into the orange here. You can see 9 watts, 13, 14 watts for Nito. He's another big name. Christensen's up at 9 watts as well. And I'm out of the saddle. You can see my heart rate's 181 beats per minute, about to go to 182.83. Just pushing 500 watts to get over this, but luckily it's short and we just kind of crushed. Picking back up at 7.2k, and you can see immediately right here there's a big attack going off the front. One rider, not too concerning, still with 21k to go. But right after that, you're going to see 2 more riders here pick up the pace. McLean at 6 watts per kilogram. And then he's got Greno as well, and that yellow Tron bike, 7 watts per kilogram, and they're immediately opening a gap. Just trying to kind of sit in on a wheel here and make sure that I don't get dropped. And Collins goes immediately with the 15 watt per kilogram kick. Bridges right up to that group of 2. You can see I'm out of my saddle here, 450 watts about. Still have a decent heart rate, 170, but just kind of sitting 4th wheel. And as we fast forward, that attack's going to get a little bit of ground, 4 or 5 seconds, but it's going to be brought back by the group here. As we make our way through fast forwarding, we're going through these little rolling sections. These are the sections where our group kind of makes up ground on the 2 members of the breakaway. Picking back up here at 11.8 kilometers, and we're going to go through this little kicker right here, the Titans Grove reverse KOM. You can see right at the beginning it starts off 5%, and immediately people are pushing the pace at 6-7 watts per kilogram. I'm kicking it up here at 450 watts, still in my saddle, just pushing my heart rate about 180, trying to hang on, about 10th position right now. You can see in the bottom, the bar chart goes up into the red numbers, and I'm really working hard just to stay in good position. As I mentioned before, my goal is to attack the climb at the end, the Epic KOM reverse, and try to, get as good of a time on the day as I can. This is kind of putting some hurt on me, however. As we go right to the end of this climb, you can see the marker that we're going to go through, 189 beats per minute, and I'm really hurting here. You can see on the right hand side there's quite a few QRs set, which at that 6-7 watt per kilogram pace I'm not surprised by. Downhill, I'm just going to try to recover a little bit. You can even just see from the comments how rough a day everybody was having. Take on some water, try to keep myself as cool as possible because like I said, this has been an all-out day. Just a lot of people attacking, a lot of people pushing big watts. So even sitting in on the Peloton has been pretty rough for me. Beginning to question how my plan of saving energy for the last big climb is going to go, and just hoping that I'm able to still put up a good time. Picking back up here at 20.3K, you can see 7.6K left to go, and this is right before the big climb of the day. You can see there's an attack going off the front here as he just tries to open up a little gap, maybe just to get a little bit of extra time or a head start for the big climb. This one rider, again, not super concerning. He's only got probably a couple seconds, but you're going to see here that the Peloton really starts to up the pace. You can see two riders at the front there in the black kits. Just kind of pushing, and they're going to open up a ever so slight gap here. This rider in yellow is just going to let him go drift a little bit off the front, and I'm happy just sitting here at third wheel. Again, I don't want to do any pacemaking, as I know I have about a 6.8 kilometer climb that's to come, and just want to conserve everything I can. You can see down at 200 watts, doing a good job of that. Me and my teammate Francesco are he's telling me that there's going to be a big kick off the front right off this little kicker, and he just warns me, don't try to push it too hard. As we pick it up, 6.3 to K to go, we're going through the starting line of this KOM here. You can see I'm going to kick it up 450 watts, really trying to up the tempo. You can see Barry comes flying on right through me. A number of these riders up at 6-7 watts per kilogram. Nito is up almost 8 watts per kilogram. Pierre, a strong climber, is pushing at 6. And you can see here there's just going to be gaps that start to open like crazy. I'm up at 470 watts, out of the saddle, pushing 181 beats per minute, just trying to hang on. And I kick it over 500, but then I kind of realize I have to back down, otherwise I'm going to blow up. So you can see now the gap's opening. I'm just hoping that I can get onto a nice little group before this bridge at 3% comes up on the left. You can see I'm out in front, and Pierre just comes flying through me at 5.7, 5.9 watts per kilogram. Luckily, he's going to be able to give me a wheel here in a second. You can see some of the riders out in front pushing 6 watts per kilogram. Grenoux's up there, Botel's up there just ahead of me. The gap's about 5 seconds to that leading group. I do have a nice 3 or 4 people here to work with and kind of help pace through this little flat section. On this section, just try to recover a little bit, sit in the draft as we come up to the next 5.2K of this climb. As we come into 4.9K to go, it's going to kick again here. You can see Pierre just goes to 6.2 watts, and I try to push it up 470 watts. Out of the saddle, 183 beats per minute on this steep 11% section. You can see Pierre is starting to open a gap, and I'm just trying to hang with him up here, pushing quite a bit of watts. I'm going to see Grenou here on the left, and I'm seeing I'm passing another strong rider in him, so I'm kind of pleased with my progress. We're going to see I'm at 186 beats per minute, and Pierre just starts to move away from me, and at this point I back down the watts because I know with 4.7K to go, I'm going to blow up if I try to keep this pace above what I can handle. As we pick it up here, and there's these little 3 downhill sections, I'm just going to push it up to 500 watts as I know I have to try to catch this group at the front over the crest of this climb. Otherwise, I'm going to not have the draft, and that could be the difference between 2 or 3 seconds on this climb. We're going to see I just catch them, and I immediately stop pedaling. I just pouring water all over my face, trying to cool down with 187 heart rate. I do catch this draft, as you can see, and you can see I gained some speed going into this next little kicker beginning at 4.1K. This is going to kick up to 9-10% even. I'm going to push 380, 400 watts here as I close down the gap to this nice little group of 4. Again, Pierre is up here pushing 5.9, 6 watts per kilogram. There's a nice little group here that we're just going to stick together for a few seconds, and then Pierre is just going to up it again at 6 watts per kilogram on this steep 10% section. You can see the mini map in the top right. This race is just beginning to get splintered all over the place with red dots everywhere. We're going to see Pierre just starting to open up that gap again. And I think back to before, I just kind of had to let it go, and I back it down to 360 watts, get back in my saddle, and just try to limit basically the gap to him. Still feeling pretty comfortable with my placing. My teammate was really in my ear at this point, just kind of pushing me to try to secure a top 15 spot. Can see the gap up to some of the key people up ahead. Pods, he's 7 seconds ahead. He probably wins the combativity award for the day, as he was just attacking all day on this tough stage. We're going to see here at 3.2K, still have this nice little group. Grinnell Bottel is about 9 seconds behind me, and at this point I'm just thinking, just keep a good pace. To be honest, I'm at this point kind of thinking, like, I don't know if I have another 3.2K left of climbing in me. As you can see, just my face, it looks like I'm really hurting here, and I really am. You can see on the bottom there just how much red I've pushed on this climb. If I haven't been in red, I've pretty much been in yellow, except for those couple little downhill sections. You're going to see I just kind of keep my pace steady here, 320, 330 watts, as it's an 8% gradient. We're going to fast forward a little bit here, right before another little downhill section here, as it pushes up to 9-10%. You can see the gap to Pods is open to 13 seconds. The gap to Pierre is open to 19 seconds. Christensen, pushing a crazy 7 watts per kilogram, is 27 seconds ahead of me. Another strong rider, Keys, is almost 35 seconds ahead of me, but he has a lot higher 20-minute power. Again, just pushing about 330, 340 watts here as I crest this climb. Just going to try to pick up some speed. You can see in the bottom, I'm pretty steady in all the yellow power graphs down there. Starting to hurt at this point, and really questioning if I can make it past this next little kicker after this downhill section here. As I crest, just trying to cool off as much as possible, because I feel like I'm almost overheating. At 1.7K here, you see we have a nice little group of 3. Grinnell in the yellow Tron bike, still hanging strong. I have Carton coming up at 6.5 watts per kilogram, just going to kind of come up and meet with me here. He's going to back it down a little bit as I go back to the front here. Again, nice steady pace, 310, 320 watts. This is a less steep section of the climb at 7%. But we're going to see Grinnell come up above me, and he's really going to push it here as we kind of come up into the steeper section coming up. As he pushes it here, I'm going to really I'm still in the saddle, but going to push 350, 360 watts, just trying to hang onto his wheel. You can't hear me in this video, but I'm kind of grunting, just trying to give it my all, just to crest this little portion with him. 1.1K till its summit. I know I have about 800 meters of climbing left, as the last 300 meters are flat or downhill. And we're going to see Grinnell and just kind of kick it here and open up a gap to me. Immediately after, he's followed by the rider in the orange Tron bike there. I'm going to do everything that I can to close it, but you see I just don't have enough left in the tank right now to fully close it. About 3 meters behind them, and Summers is going to come up behind me. He's going to start to make some ground on me, and he's just going to kind of pull out in front of me for a second here as he kicks it up above 5 watts per kilogram. You can see another big kick from Grinnell coming in at almost 6 watts per kilogram. Carton goes up over 7 watts per kilogram, and I have no response at this point. You can see my numbers are still in the orange down at the bottom, but I'm still losing some time. Another big B rider, Lund, he's been strong on the day. He's going to join my group of 2 here with me and Summers, and we're just going to see what we can give and fight for the placings of 16 through 18 here. You can see it's steep here at 10%. It doesn't really let go for much. There's a little bit of reprieve here going down to 9-8%, but it's still steep. And it looks like Grinnell up above is cracking with 0.7K to go, as I just kind of come up at 4.5 watts per kilogram and pass him here. Now we have a group of 3, and Summers just kicks. He's over 5.5 watts per kilogram, and again, I just don't have this raw power to sprint out of my saddle and just close that gap. You can see 340 watts I'm pushing. The gap's opening 4 or 5 meters. The B rider lunge just comes right up on my wheel, and somehow Grenaud's just come back. He's pushing again up at 5 watts, over 5 watts per kilogram. He's just going to fly by me as we're approaching the crest of this climb. I'm going to try to give everything I can because I know if I could grab a wheel at the top of this, I might have a chance to push on the little flat downhill and try to gain over the 18th spot. We're going to see as we come up to the very, very top of this, almost pushing 400 watts here. I go over it for a split second and I just try to latch onto this lunge wheel. Luckily I do latch on. Summers has a 2-second gap. I'm feeling at this point that I'm not going to be able to catch that group ahead. I go by giving everything I can at 260, 270 watts. You can see my head down. That's pretty much all I had left at this point, is I essentially am leading out Lund at this right now. Lund's just going to kind of come right on by me here. And I'm going to push it, still in the saddle, trying to just hold his wheel as best as I can. Up almost 400 watts I'm pushing. And luckily for me, Lund just kind of pulls me right past Grenaud. I wasn't able to pass London then, but he did pull me up into 17th place, so I was super happy with that. Not quite a top 15 I was hoping, but we can see here there's some strong riders. Looking at the ending results, I finished 16th with a time of 46 minutes and average power of 303 watts. Thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you next time.